Who would pay for free software?
Who would pay for WinRAR?
Yeah, who would ever pay for WinRAR?
I actually did buy WinRAR.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Of all programs to purchase, it's the one that everyone universally has cracked since the beginning of time.
If you use it in a business, you have to get a license for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to have a business license for it, but...
That's okay. 7-zip exists, so...
Yeah, I do use 7-zip now.
Like 7-zip and stuff
it's
like
just
that.
so much easier. Yeah.
But there's also like a... What is there? There's a method that Windows has to just let you have... like files be zipped and not like you can't put them into archives, but you can like still access them like through the Windows browser without it like becoming a different file format or something. Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah. Anyway, hi everybody.
Are we good? All right, sweet.
We're good. Right?
Yep.
This episode of Hammered is brought to you by two guys who can grow beards, one of which doesn't work out that well, the other is freaking glorious, and for the first time in podcast history, a special guest, Mr. James Sternab Parkinson. And that's the intro that I came up with, because I didn't come up with anything more fancy.
That's valid.
Is that all we need?
I think that's... Sternab, do you want to plug any of... You can't plug an actual sponsor, but if you want to make up a sponsor,
we're giving him plug privileges right off the gate, so it just might as well, because we aren't sponsored by anything officially.
You can't plug your nootropic drinks, but you can plug, like, I don't know, beans on toast or something.
Yeah, okay, we'll go for that. I'm sponsored by Beans on Toast, officially.
Okay.
I can't name a specific brand, but any beans and any specific bread brand that you might like, just slap it on there, and Beans on Toast, as a complete meal, that's what I'm sponsored by.
God,
beans on toast. Just slap it on.
Just slap it on.
Where's your hotkey? I thought you had a mixer hotkey if you said anything about beans on toast.
Oh.
No?
No.
You lied to me?
I did.
God. I thought there would be some reprieve from this. I don't know how you... God.
How do I do it? Well,
hi.
I mean, it's actually quite easy to deal with British people.
I don't even mention beans that often on Twitter, but everyone
just tags you in it. Yeah.
Every single time.
Like literally any bean post.
Literally,
you gained a reputation for this
see
at
my
this point.
mentions,
So
it's just beans everywhere. It's ridiculous.
What's going on? What's going on with beans? I don't know. There's too many beans.
There's just beans everywhere.
All I know is to tag Sternab on Twitter. That's all we have to do.
Yeah, I see beans. I tag Sternab.
Well, yeah, like someone, some random person on Twitter who follows me, like he's like, oh yeah, Sternab, I'm at the supermarket and I got some beans. And he took a picture of the beans in his tray, and I'm like, great guy, great. I'm so glad for you. I'm so happy for you.
Nice job.
Good work, everybody.
Like, okay. I get it.
We all have to be known for something ridiculous, right? Like, that's just what I've gathered. Everyone knows Chowder for having really bad opinions about Monster Hunter classes, and I'm just here.
Hey, I have bad opinions about other things.
Like what?
I mean,
I'm happy to indulge them. I'm happy to let the whole world know what you also have bad opinions about.
I think Thermite should have frag grenades.
Oh, God.
Why is that a problem? No, that's a great opinion.
Because that's incredibly broken. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Please.
No,
it's amazing.
He had frag grenades.
I wasn't playing Siege in the Age of Fragmite.
He
Do you have any idea how badly I want to experience that?
There is a reason he doesn't have frag grenades.
The problem with Thermite frag grenades is that allows Thermite to do things for himself. Like, Thermite should be an operator you have to use in tandem with other operators for it to be effective.
Yeah.
You know how bad Maverick is now that he has frag grenades?
Oh, he's glorious. Oh, that man is... He's a solo queue player's dream right now.
Think about how good he is. Now do that to Thermite. Thermite's already one of the most picked operators in the game. Thermite already has some of the best utility in the game.
This is the argument a lot of people and myself were making when Book lost his nades, that they haven't given nades back to an essential operator. Even if, someone like Ying got grenades back. Or,
for all of a week,
Dokubi,
yes.
Yeah, like even if someone like that got nades, it wouldn't mean anything for the comp meta, because she will not be picked that often. If you do not give nades to an operator in like the 10 most picked attackers, the attackers are just going to have to go without nades, because
honestly,
there's just too much you're going to have to bring. This is why like IQ nades is such a popular
IQ nades.
opinion.
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, like give IQ her grenades back, because that's like super important. Yeah.
don't give too much utility to the ones you know are going to get picked, but for the ones that aren't, it's going to be relatively ineffectual. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But I still kind of want to see that back. I'm just saying it's from the perspective of someone who's very known, like, wide and large as being a hard-stuck gold 3 to silver 1, then I'm not going to complain about having an unfair advantage. So what the heck do I know about game balancing?
Look, there was a point in this game, and it was horrifying, when Ash had smoke grenades.
Yeah, but the smoke grenades were complete ass back then.
Yeah,
so...
that's fair. Smoke grenades were horribly
I'm going to say
inconsistent.
propagation would have been more of a
Terrible.
problem, so it was like...
Well, so what it used to be like is it used to be like semi-transparent smoke.
It used to be like
rather
smoke
than
smoke.
solid. Yeah. So
Oh,
you used
really?
to have
Yeah.
3 smoke grenades, and it was like semi-transparent, and only Capital would have the solid smoke. So what we used to
Capital
do...
smoke was bright blue.
Yeah, so my team played in Go Force in Year 1, Season 1. And
Okay.
this was at the time where if you won a Go For, you got, like, Pro League points to qualify for Pro League. It was, like, the
Yeah.
only way to get into Pro League. I think so, anyway. I'm pretty sure it was. And, yeah, what we used to do is stack up outside a kid's room window, like, when House was back in comp.
Yeah.
And we would just throw, like, 9 grenades through the window. Because I've realized if you stack them up, it actually does become a solid smoke. And then we...
So you'd have to expend all of your smoke utility just to get everything to be opaque.
Well, but then, like, you know, we would burn ADSs first, and then
Yeah.
everyone would hop in, and then Monty would hop in and reverse blunt.
And this is on a kid room beds.
Yes.
Kids room beds. Oh
Yeah.
God, I'm up too early for this. This is when I really hate the fact that we picked this exact start time, because Chowder's over here sitting pretty. It's 11 o'clock for him. It's like 5 p.m. for you all
We
the way
didn't
across
pick
the
this
Atlantic,
start
and it's
time.
9 in the
You
morning
picked
for me.
this start time.
I know. No, I was trying to do that to fit around your work schedule, but then you had Corona, so no one, you weren't worried about that for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and
Right?
now look, you're getting up at a decent hour, like an adult.
After
Very
about
proud.
4 hours sleep, because I didn't think that us running vanilla customs last night was going to go nearly as long as it did. I didn't think we were going to go 3 maps. I thought we were going to like do 2 of them and then be sick of it. But no, we did 3 last night.
Jesus
Which-
Christ.
That was really, really weird because it put you into such a strange mindset. I liked it because you're not worried about gadget upon gadget upon gadget. And I just came up with the thought about it last night because I realized I did hate the way that the meta has begun to shift these past couple weeks, and everyone's been talking about it. So I'm like, what would happen if you at least tried to replicate a pseudo experience from Year 1, Season 1? We did that through 3 matches, and that was the only downside was playing plane. I feel like Bartlett was fun.
Plane is
because
never a downside.
No one ever plays Bartlett, and
Yeah,
then
it's only because you got
House is
slammed on
House.
plane. Okay.
Never.
You got slammed on plane, dude. Do I need to pull the Monty clip back up?
Oh my god.
Or do I?
Remind me.
I need to go back and clip it first if it's going to create this much.
Oh
of
my
an
god!
argument,
I had a plain 10-man. I think Friday. It was Friday, and we were playing Monty, and we kept getting 6th picked. Because you take Monty, and then they started 6th picking Oryx.
Dear God.
So I don't know if you've ever seen just like you're pushing with Monty, and then out of like fucking nowhere, Oryx just rams into you, and the Vigil from above just starts gunning.
Gee.
But it's the worst. Genuine.
There's plenty of maps that I haven't been able to experience the horror that is Oryx on them yet.
Well,
So plane being one of them.
Oryx is going to be very, very interesting because if you think about how comp is played right now, especially on a map like Consulate, so like you say you're doing like a top floor to bottom floor clear, like you go for top floor, you clear it all out, you put like nomads down, like gridlocks down or whatever, flank
Yeah.
drones or whatever crap you have to do, and then you're like, cool, let's progress down. And now we know we can't get flanked because Consulate is one of those maps with 3 staircases, so it's very easy to get flanked.
Yeah.
But then Oryx is a thing, and there's 3
And he'll
hatches
just jump
that he
up a
can go
hatch.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's going to be so hard to shut down roamers on a map like Consulate.
I remember Helby talking about him a little bit back when I think this might have been right around patch time. I think it was actually in Montreal. He was talking a little bit about
Well,
it. saying,
Helby went to the playtest as well, so he probably has a lot more to say on it.
well, right, but he couldn't. I don't think if he went to a playtest, he couldn't talk
Well,
about
okay,
it
but
until the
he's-
announcement. So like,
he's going to have to be. He plays as it, right? And
Right.
he knows his opinion already.
no,
So when,
that's
when
fair.
it comes out, like he's going to know what it's going to be like.
yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, the thing he was saying was he can. idea of him being used kind of like a defensive sledge is kind of going to come secondary to his roam potential, which I think I don't know if everyone will have the same opinion, but I kind of think that if only because of him having the hatch jump ability while still being a 2-speed with the weapon options that he has, that to me is gonna probably be about as effectual.
Maybe on certain sites, like a clubhouse basement defense or something like that, or maybe like pretty much every site on Villa, you will want to save your impacts or just, not waste the time shotgunning.
Yeah.
Just to make rotates there, just so that you can have the impacts for later. So, like, maybe I could see it there, but yeah, generally I think it's like his roamer ability is just so good.
Mm-hmm. It's one we haven't seen before, and I remember seeing a whole bunch of concepts on Reddit being like, can we get somebody who can just, like, rappel through a hatch, and instead we got someone who can just straight up jump through it. So,
yeah, I really
less
don't
animation,
like how,
less noise, rather than, like, putting something up.
Because he can hop up onto the hatch, right? And then he can just peek over it.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have to commit. So there's no risk involved in doing that action for him, right? And it hardly makes any noise on top of that, right? So he can just peek over it. He, like, sees that there's a goddamn claymore there or something like that, and he's like, nah, I'm just gonna fall off. And he's got two other hatches he can go.
To get intel and get out oftentimes.
Yeah, I mean,
which from a pro perspective is like,
there's no risk involved, right? If he's gonna make a play, like, make the play, like, make him commit to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that he can peek over.
Maybe he would be a little bit more balanced. I mean, I want us to get through the 3-month grace period and then see, like, kind of how he does, maybe a little, like, further down the road, because I think they realized the potential that Mozzie could have, but I don't think everybody was, like, jumping on the train for the new ops, like, within that next couple weeks, like, around the same time.
Like, that would be kind of a good point if we saw Ubisoft make many changes to operators in that grace period in the past. Yeah. But, like, Goyo went through 3 months grace period and had no changes, and then he comes to comp and he's ridiculous, and then only now is he getting nerfed.
Well, he's only ridiculous in Pro League. I was talking to the one of the user feedback guys, and he was saying that like, they see almost no change in Goyo's win rate until you start approaching, like, Diamond and Challenger, right?
Yeah, but, like, that is the highest level, right? Like, that is what the game should be balanced around.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
So, and I get, like, they have the user data and stuff, but, like, I feel like if one of the developers went into a Diamond game, they would be very surprised at the way that their game is being played right now, because especially in NA ranked at Diamond, people just run around, don't care about the strategy.
Yeah, it's TDM.
I played a Villa game against a 5-stack of diamonds on NA. I won't say the streamer, but it was a very popular streamer, and they did not bring a single hard breach on Villa, and they just ran in the door. That was their strategy.
You don't have to. Like, if you think you need strategy in, like, high NA ranks, you're kind of kidding yourself.
But this is the thing, right? Like, Gio made a great tweet about it, which I definitely agree with, that people are playing the game wrong, right? And only at the comp level are you going to see what is the actual true meta of playing the game. What is the actual most efficient tactic? Because there's thousands and millions of dollars on the line.
No, I think the idea that you're really only seeing peak gameplay comes when people who play the game professionally are kind of doing their shtick. You're right.
I guess,
but for everyone else, it turns into just a battlefield where you can choose to run and gun if you want, and it's not something you need to take super seriously. And the people who do take it seriously and try to strat out in ranked are really only going to find success against other people who are trying to, like, have, like, the same level of, like, competitive commitment, which in ranked never happens.
I don't agree. I think that you can pull out, like, a lot of weird, like, pocket strats and stuff like that in ranked, and actual strats, and it can work very well because people are idiots and they don't know how to deal with that. People say, oh, you don't need to clear utilities, you can just run in. That is until you go against, goddamn Mr. 5 shields over here in sight, where as soon as you approach the site door, you're insta-domed from one of the 5 shields, So then you start to realize why that pros have such a hard time getting into sight and clearing all the utility, because you cannot win a gunfight from one of those fucking shields. So
yeah, it's not the previous 20-second meta, which is to say it's not what Vitality used to do, which was just...
Well, when Vitality chose to use all of the round, right? Like, that was a choice. This 20-second meta is not a choice.
This 20-second meta is, it takes 2 minutes and 40 seconds to clear out all the utility on the site.
Yeah.
Vitality would have the utility cleared out in the site by like minute 32 minutes in. And then they would just like maybe consider start picking off roamers and get really prepared, and then they'd go in. What's happening now is just like you need to deal with fucking theoretically 3 Valk cameras, 3 Goyo shields, 2 Maestro cameras. Let's see what else.
2 mirror windows, a couple yokais.
2 mirror windows, a couple yokais, or some Kayed charges, bandit batteries. Like, there's just so much fucking utility. And you would think, oh, bring a Thatcher, but Thatcher can't deal with Goyo shields.
Well, okay. Let me give you like a typical example of why this is a big issue. Maybe it'll like demonstrate the point a little better rather than just listing off utility. Because you're not always going to clear all the utility. It's not always going to be invested in the ones that you're for an execute on. So say you want to go for a church push, and they've got Cade,
Right.
on Clubhouse, right? So you're like, okay, we need to open the moto hatch, but Cade's going to trick it. So you're going to have to double Thatcher the moto hatch to stop him from doing that, okay? Mm-hmm. Cade's smarter than that. He just takes his Cade off. He knows you're going to double EMP, so he's just going to save his Electroclaws. So he runs back. So you're like, okay, maybe we should nade him when he does this. So you double Thatcher, you wait for the ADS to get burned by the Thatcher, and then you nade him, because there's an angle you can get if you from the kitchen hallway by booking.
Yeah.
And you can nade into motor from there. You're like, okay, good plan. So, but now you've just wasted a nade to try and catch this Cade out, who really, it's not 100% kill rate, really. All it is just to force him out of there. So then he comes back, but now he's still got 2 Electroclaws in his pocket, and you've run out of a nade, you've run out of 2 EMPs, and that's just to clear one guy in one part of the map. Now you still have to get the church wall, which he's got 2 Cades for. Maybe there's a bandit on the board, maybe there's a mute on the board as well. Maybe there's a guy playing on the Goyo shield in the stairway. Maybe there's a guy on the Goyo shield in blue as well. Like, you've got all these things you have to deal with, but you can only take it one at a time. And maybe it's an unfair example because Clubhouse really is a utility testing site.
I was about to say, but I think the idea might more be you have the option of bringing so much utility that you need to expend like the rest of the attacker's utility to try to clear it out. But then even in the midst of you trying to work on getting all of that utility moved away from the site, and before you're able to make an effective push, you don't even need to like still have it applied. Yeah, if you're on the defense.
So the big problem though is that as attackers do not have enough utility to clear what is on the defense. There is a massive gap there, and you can see it as well in the operator's pick that people will be like, oh, just do this, or just ban Jaeger, or just bring this, but you ban Jaeger, it puts you at a huge disadvantage when you push onto the defense as well. You're not banner tricking anything because you're just going to get aided as soon as you try and do it. You're trying to just delay the round for as much as possible when you're on the defense, right? And it's super easy to do that when you have like a billion pieces of utility, and then you also have the site itself. You have reinforcements, you're in a static position, very easy to defend.
Right.
I wish I could say that it's something that had an easy fix, and I know that there's a lot of people, like myself included, that kind of tout the idea that if you just take away a lot of the primary gadgetry from a whole bunch of operators, then that kind of solves the problem. I know that saying that is almost like kind of a cop-out. I think it would be interesting to see if we were to take like a week period, everyone plays at the test server, and we've got one less Valk cam, we've got like a little bit less on the anti-breach, so maybe Cade has one less Electroclaw, or maybe Mute's got a jammer or 2 less than he typically does. We're minus a Goyo shield, we're minus maybe a Maestro cam or a mirror window, or like something to help supplement all that stuff. Like even just having an environment on the test server where some of these changes that have been controversial recently haven't even gone live yet, so you just take that period, like mess around with that kind of stuff, see how it plays out, and then it feels like if the gadgetry is the problem, take it away, but I also know that isn't like the full solution. So
I think one of the bigger issues though is, and there's 2 main issues. Defenders recently in like the last 3 DLCs have gotten way better operators than the attackers do. You look at Kali, who isn't really an alternative to Thatcher, as I think she was intended to be, because you can still just easily trick against it. It's not an issue whatsoever. Like, and also her gun sucks, really. Honestly, like, maybe like you see how much damage it does, and you're like, okay, this is actually pretty good. But then you're trying to like rush at the last 30 seconds, and you've got a goddamn sniper
and,
with an AX scope. It's just not going to happen.
Fucking Holly needs line of sight. Thatcher doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Thatcher's just way better in general because he can get loads of other stuff like ADS.
I mean, Thatcher's the best.
Like that. Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
for various reasons. So then you have that issue that there's a massive disparity in you get like defenders get Goyo and the attackers get Amaru. Like there's a huge disparity there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then you look at the defenders themselves where almost every defender is incredibly flexible in their role. Like, look at Castle, right? He gets a super shorty, he gets castles in themselves are really, really good, and he also gets impacts. So there's, like, 3 things that he can do, and then, on top of that, he has the UMP, okay, but, like, it's still a gun, you can still shoot people with it, so...
Right.
Like, it's, But then the attackers are so... The reason you see Zofia so many times is she's so flexible as an attacker. She's like the only flexible attacker, really. You hear about the flex role, but how many attackers are there really that can fulfill that role to its fullest?
I think you brought up an interesting point. I think last night is like, well, the only reason why next one was playing Ashe was just because we weren't able to play Zofia, but 100% just like from an entry perspective, if you're not going to ban out Zofia, then you kind of have one to supplement the other in a sense, so you could theoretically play an Ashe or a Zof. If you bring both of them, I'd say you're nuts, but...
Because the big problem with the Ashe, utility-wise, I mean, her utility is really good, especially in the current
It takes
meta.
a lot longer to come out, and it also has a delay from when it detonates.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest issue. You cannot surprise people with the Ashe charge. Like, as soon as they hear the Ashe charge, they're going to know that it's getting breached. With Zofia, you can, like, kitchen rushes, you see that a lot with Zofia. Like, they'll stack up outside, the Zofia will do it. And G2 does it a lot as well, where they will stack outside a door, they will Zofia impact it, and then they'll all just rush in, because you can do it instantly,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Welcome to the world that we live in now.
Yeah, a lot of attacker gadgets require you to be directly on something, like, let's consider Buck and Sledge, right, where they have to basically be on the thing that they're bucking or sledging.
Right.
Or something like Ashe and Kali, where there's, like, very noticeable delays, while something like a defender gadget, you shoot a fucking Goyo, it goes off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, Goyo probably needed one of his shields taken away. That was probably the simplest solution. I think one of the better solutions might have been to, how, like, you see Goyo shield, right? And there's, like, where the fuel tank is, there's, like, a shielding around it that comes out.
So you can't shoot it from, like directly on the side.
That should just be removed.
Yeah.
If you see it from the side, you should just be able to shoot it. It should not be this protected, because there are so many spots. Oh my god. Goyo is so ridiculous, man. Like, there are so many spots recently, like, in scrims, where I was just being like, how are we supposed to clear this? This is ridiculous. Like, I'll tell you one that's actually used quite a lot in Pro League. Where Astro is on Villa, like, between the two sites, the little hallway, some people call it split, or whatever.
Yeah.
You put a shield directly in the middle of that, facing onto statue, and you can't shoot from the Astro window because it's siding face on. It's a goddamn metal shielding there for some reason. So it's just there, and you can't do anything about it because it's probably going to be 2 ADSs in Astro that you're going to have to clear.
And you can't throw a nade. Well, I guess you could probably, from whatever, like, that one reinforcement panel is on split, you could probably buck, like, straight through that and maybe try to throw a frag up through there, but that'll be ineffectual once Buck gets the frag nerf. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you already see, like, I think one of the kind of bigger issues as well is, I see this a lot on Reddit, obviously. I go to Reddit a lot for my professional opinions.
Right, yeah, of course.
A lot of people are like, why don't you just go below and clear the shields there? And they make kind of a good point, because a lot of the shield places you could very easily clear from below. But the problem is, normally there's some goddamn Jaeger roaming down there in some rat-ass corner. You have no idea where he is, so you're going to spend half the round droning him just to get below control. And by the time you've traded 3 operators out to kill this rat-ass Jaeger who's sat in a corner, and you've lost like 5 drones in half the round, it's already not worth it.
I do that shit as Pulse all the time, and it's viciously effective.
Yeah, it's so easy to roam on a few maps, like just to waste a huge amount of time.
Yeah, especially Villa with the basement, where you can just shark people by just like dipping, and then there's like 3 staircases you can
also,
go up,
like,
3-4 staircases.
The worst part about it is that if Jaeger dies on that roam, the defenders lose nothing. The defenders they lose a gun, right? They lose no utility whatsoever. But if any attackers die, then they lose utility. They lose probably a huge amount of utility.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you consider that there are just, like the basement Villa example is so perfect because no one is ever in Villa basement because there's never a reason to be down there. So when you've got somebody whose ability is quite literally, let me just see through a couple of like thick walls real fast and then see if I can't get a nitro placement, then you're basically set. I wish I could come up with, man, I'm looking for another like decent example on a comp map that can also kind of hold true to that same idea.
I mean, I've heard some people talk about how like the basement of Villa should be removed. Which,
I mean,
I don't think it should be removed, but I think it should be really small.
It should be like a single corridor, right?
Yeah.
Like some like pieces of cover. It's just a single corridor, like
just
New Oregon.
Turn it into whatever
New Oregon.
The basement kayak site has the one trench that connects the kayak or the submarine room to the bathroom and showers part of canal. Like just make it something like that it only has like one method of connection, and then don't make it a staircase, make it a ladder. Or nah, I mean, I guess you wouldn't have to do that, but still the idea stands. It's like there's nothing to really do with that section of the map unless you give it a reason to exist in a competitive setting. I don't know if you would want to drop a bomb down there if you wanted to convert something on Villa to a split site, because I'm not exactly a fan of the library defense on Villa.
A Villa split site.
If you wanted to get really crazy with it, you can put one in garage close to I mean, you literally have an entry point on Villa where you go down into a wine cellar from outside and no one has to use that for anything unless you're playing hostage or secure. And it's like
the biggest issue with that is that you cannot reinforce those places. You cannot stop a rush from happening.
Yeah.
So like they could always just go through there, and there's not really a lot you could do about it. So I don't know how you would really contain the attackers in a situation like that. Like Zofia goes one side, Buck goes the other side, and all of a sudden they have a pincer on you.
Yeah.
Like the basement is not a good place to defend. There's a lot of like hard walls that are down there as well, but it's also just a maze. It's just confusing.
I am ashamed to say that I know more about how the hell the maze of Outback, the map, the thing that should be nuked, works than I do in understanding about how Basement Villa is, just because of what I play. So it's like, I get I know that there's like is there one default cam on that entire like floor, and then everything else is just like connecting to 2 separate staircases with like one barrel's entry point. Like that's all I can. Yeah.
To be honest, there probably shouldn't even be a default cam down there. I think the only team I ever really saw use the Villa basement effectively was Extreme Video during the last season of Challenge League. Was it season 10? Or maybe it was season 9?
That would have been season 10, yeah.
Season 10.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, Liven's team. And they used to use Renchiro, who would sit on the bottom of the red stairs, like the very, very bottom, and he held an angle from there all the way up onto Piano.
Yeah.
He had this
I've done that. Yeah.
Crazy long angle, but the Renchiro is like the god of holding ACOG angles because he's probably Blackbird all the time.
Oh.
So, yeah, like he would just nail anyone off that angle. Like no one would be able to contest him. You would have to go downstairs and clear him. So.
Wow, we went through a lot in the past 30 minutes.
We kind of just went on this rant about competitive.
Yeah,
too much fucking utility. Yeah.
A whole bunch of competitive problems summed up all in like one big fell swoop. I mean, we're talking about competitive, so we might as well talk about the guy that we've got with us. James, why did you leave a perfectly respectable position as a Challenger League coordinator and opt to go for coaching instead? What is wrong with you? What made you want to do that? No.
This is gotta go back a bit. So,
how far back are we talking?
Before the ESL Premiership season started for this season.
Okay. Yeah.
So I didn't really know what was going to happen with casting this season. I won't go too much into it, but I had a big feeling that I was not going to be hired as a caster by Ubisoft for that season.
For the CL season, and then that also led into not getting something from the Prem as well?
I didn't know about the CL season at this point. This was the ESL Prem season, because I casted only one... I casted 2 play days of the ESL Premiership for the previous season, And I got some good feedback from it, but I didn't get taken back for the LAN, which I was a little bit disappointed by. But, you just move on, it's whatever.
Right.
But I was kind of expecting that, I would get it, and then slowly started to realize, okay, maybe this isn't happening, and I'm not really getting any emails. I haven't heard about it. So I messaged ESL rep, and a few days later, I got told that I wasn't needed for the ESL Premiership season. So I was a bit gutted by that because, I like casting and I like being involved in the ESL UK scene. So I was like,
yeah,
you know what, I'm gonna stay involved, right? I'm not gonna just sit on the sidelines and just not be involved this season. If I'm not casting, I'm gonna do something else. So originally what I wanted to do is do a breakdown Reaper style video of each playday and just pick a round and just say, okay, this is why. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Right. But then Dowie,
which, by the way, I would kill to see some of that kind of analysis stuff on your perspective. I think that'd be interesting, but I don't know if I'm the only one. So
well, I wouldn't do stuff like that now because I am a coach right now, and
sure,
I don't want other teams to know how I think. So there's a big issue with that.
That awkward moment when you realize Reaper's been giving everybody kind of insight into a little bit of his playbook for the past time, insert X amount of time here he's not been on a PL squad.
Sure, but every season it completely changes, and you go into the season
sure.
with a fresh new kind of outlook on what you want to think the meta is going to be this season.
Yeah.
But anyway, so and then I was talking to Dowie, and he said that they need a coach, and obviously it'd been a while since I had coached at that point. I had done some work for a Challenger League team in North America, which I can't say who, last season of Challenger League for Season 10. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I hadn't really coached that much recently. The last team that I was on was Epsilon, which was in CCS Season 4, and they also played in the ESL Premiership that season as well, last year.
Okay, so, yeah, that's probably where I know them from.
And we finished 3rd in CCS. So we had an okay run, but there was a lot of frustrations with that team, and it kind of made me want to just not do coaching anymore after that team, just because of internal issues and egos between players and stuff like that.
Which Prem season was that? Because that would have been a 9-month spread in between coaching stints.
Summer 2019, I want to say.
Yeah.
So a decent 9, maybe anywhere from 7 to 9 months spread of not doing anything coaching wise, and then said, "Oh, we can jump back into it here."
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of approached it not in the fact that I'm doing this and now I'm a professional coach and I'm not going to do anything else. I jumped into it as a learning opportunity where I can stay involved in the UK scene. I can prove that I know what I'm talking about by getting these guys a good placement.
Yeah.
And we can just go from there. So I did a lot of work for Demise just because I wanted to kind of prove myself and that we could beat Team Secret and we could go to playoffs and stuff like that, and we could finish maybe 1st or 2nd. And it went really well. We had a really good season. The guys were very receptive to what I wanted to do and the kind of ideas that I had. Probably before Diffuse Kids, definitely the best team that I had been on, where people had real promise and actually wanted to grind and actually had commitment. Obviously, they are not full-time players. They have real lives and they have jobs and stuff like that. So there were some issues, but other than that, Usus is incredible, and Harris puts in huge amounts of work for that team. So, it was really good playing with those guys and getting to see where they had come to. So, we played out the season, and then it started to get to the end of the season, and I was like, okay, what happens now? Because I hadn't heard anything back about what was happening for Challenge League casting.
Okay.
And I was starting to get a bit worried because I'd casted Season 8, Season 9, and Season 10 of Challenger League. So I kind of felt like I was a bit of a staple of the Challenger League casting scene.
You felt just previous experience, you figure might as well go back to the same thing because there's no reason to not use you if you're available to do that.
Yeah, but I think... Yeah, I should probably not go into huge amounts of depth here. But basically I ended up getting told that I wasn't going to be needed for the Challenge League season. So I was like, all right, that's unlucky. I guess I'll just keep coaching Demise until a casting gig comes up or until, we make Pro League or something. I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, anyway, and then about 2 days later, I started playing some Warzone because I was sick of going against stupid ass hackers in ranked all the time.
That sounds like everyone's Warzone
I had a
experience.
great experience where I was queuing with users and Dowie, and first round we got DDoSers. Second game we got people who were holding lobbies. A third game we just went against blatant wallers. Fourth game people are just running outside and just aimbotting you through walls. And after that fourth game I was like, yeah, it's good. 500 elo gone. I think I'm good. So yeah, I started playing Warzone. I don't know if you know her, Lost Alyssa. She's like a Croatian girl. She does like a lot of streaming. She used to play CCS Women's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was playing with her, and we were playing with Leonski. And yeah, we were just talking about it, and he was like, I asked him, like, are you guys looking for a coach? Like, not even thinking that I would take it, just that I was just asking, just making conversation.
Yeah,
and he's
just generally like being, hey, are you gonna go with a coach for CL or not? Like,
so, and then he's like, I know, actually, there's no like good coaches out there right now, so we're just not gonna go with one probably. And I was like, oh well, I was only really gonna coach Demise for this ESL Premier season, and then he offered me a tryout. So then I did my trial on the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few other offers from a few other teams as well, including an NA team, but the Fuse kids from my trial were the only trial where they actually won their scrim, and also on top of that, they were just way better. They seemed really on top of their game, and they were really coordinated, and there was no like drama. If things went wrong, obviously there was feedback, but it wasn't like people screaming at each other.
You were shit. This is like your fault, like that kind of stuff. It was very
well. I mean, sometimes there's that. Sometimes Crying dies and is like, yeah, that's why you got dropped from G2. But
no.
You'd be surprised. That comes up probably once,
Christ.
at least once a scrim.
Oh God. Yeah, he's never gonna be able to escape that, is he? That's just an unfortunate part of it.
No,
oh,
but
boy.
Jesus Christ, you fucking Benelux boys are savage.
You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that gets said.
I mean, your original team name was fucking. How do you say? Geet Colonized?
Geet Colonized
I
Nerd?
have no idea. I asked Leonski like twice, how do I pronounce this? And he told me, and I was like, yeah, that's not happening. We gotta get an org or something. So then I had my trial, and Avesh afterwards said he had my feedback. There were some things he didn't like, and some things he wanted me to do differently, which, I'm fine with. Like, I have my system, but it's always adaptable to, the player's needs come first, right? So
Right, yeah. Which is, it's nice hearing somebody in a coaching position say that, because usually I think the perception might be if the players are cool adapting to like what the coach has in mind, then it's good, like, because then they can say, hey, we're adaptable, we're receptive to feedback, we're cool changing things up. But if it's something that kind of works as a two-way street, and the coach is also able to say, I'm cool with like changing some slight things without completely changing your coaching philosophy, then
it would be different if I had coached the team and then they had did everything else and made all the changes and stuff, but I was coming in at a point where a lot of changes had already happened, and they already found a formula that really worked, so all it was me just trying to see how they play, adapt to that, and then add in my own ideas on top of it. So, so that's kind of what we kind of came to the agreement to that's how the coaching would be done.
Sure.
And then we just went from there. On the 23rd, I accepted Avesh's proposal. I said I was going to play out the ESL Premiership season with Demise, and we would see how we did, and then afterwards I would join. I know there was a bit of drama during Friday's playday against Secret, where Farrell accused me of hoarding VODs from the previous team, Demise, because we scrimmed Secret. We didn't scrim Secret that much. We scrimmed them twice, so 6 maps. But as soon as I got offered the coaching position from Avish, I told Leon about it, and they still wanted to go ahead with the scrim anyway, so I'm not really sure what his point there is, if that's bad.
I don't know. I think he didn't know that Leon knew.
Maybe not. Farrell's not really involved in the team anymore.
I think there was a breakdown in communication, because I know Farrell's been removed from that team for a while, just because of personal issues.
But there's also this. I think the most hilarious part of it all, I was like reading through Farrell's replies and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is really hilarious, and he seemed to like have this idea some kind of like evil genius who had this all planned out from the start that I was going to scrim
Well, no,
a bunch
see,
of CL
Sternab, you
teams.
win. You can't be an evil genius.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Every evil genius that's ever been in this game has met with abysmal failure. So
I was more talking about the team.
Yeah, I get
I
it.
was too.
I get it.
Like every evil genius being
That's
every
fair.
evil genius's player. Yeah, never mind.
So, yeah, but he seems to think I had this all plotted out from the start, and really all it was just a last second, yes, I would love to join the CL team. But he seems to think I have, like, VODs on every single CL team. Like, I wish I had VODs on every single CL team. Like, hell yeah, I would goddamn use that. Like, oh my god.
Oh yeah,
But
no,
I don't. I have...
you're fucking out here like oh god, what was it, Bill Belichick, and you've got like a camcorder. Just
I had 6 maps on Secret, but I got removed from the Google Drive, so I don't have access to any of those VODs anymore. And then I have 1 VOD on Izzy Dream from fucking, like, months ago that we scrimmed them in. And, you know, I don't have access to that VOD either. Like, obviously, I can remember what that scrim was like, barely, and I still remember my notes from it, but I can't just forget. You know, like, I don't know what he wants me to do. Like, oh, I'm just supposed to forget the scrim, or forget any analysis I did. I don't know how I can be the good guy here, you know?
I don't know, eat enough beans that you just fucking forget things.
Yeah, that's why amnesia.
That's why the British eat beans, right? To forget the empire.
Yeah.
Or to give a giant middle finger to...
It's kind of annoying, and I was talking to some other coaches about it, and, you know...
I mean, yeah, it is a shitty position to be stuck in. Definitely.
Yeah, the whole point of me coaching CL this season is to prove that I know what I'm talking about, and to prove that I can coach at this level. And we beat Secret, where we have a 4% chance to win according to Strafe. A 4%. People really did not believe in us, right? And we beat them 2-0. And, you know, what do people say? Is it an upset? Is it, oh, wow, Strafe, you know, Diffuse Kids are so good. They played really well. No. It's, oh, Secret and an off day. Oh, Sternab had VODs. It's hosted on North EU. You know, the excuses coming out from that team and from their fans is insane. Not from Leon. Leon was great. He actually did quite well in the game as well. Leon has a really good competitive attitude, but oh my god, the amount of Secret fans I've had in my DMs over the past few days calling me a rat and a betrayer to the UK scene, and
what the heck?
My god, it's this huge.
Well, I mean,
I'd
call you a betrayer to the UK scene, but that's because you went to Benelux. But
yeah,
you know.
Well, I mean, I had no opportunities in the UK scene. Yeah, I have demise, but you know they're not in CL, and I think it would have to be crazy not to take the CL offer.
Yeah, you did mention you also had an offer for an NACL team. Would that have been for a team that's currently competing this season, or is that just something like within the NA scene, not necessarily for CL? Or team. You didn't say CL. Okay, copy that. I didn't know if that was.
I'm not going to say what league, but you could probably guess from the fact that I'm not talking about it.
Sure.
But yeah, what I witnessed from them was not good, and so I won't say what team and I won't say what league. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I looked at all the scrims that I got, you know, invited for, and Diffuse Kids by far and away was the best team.
Yeah, cool. Not jumping on the crying train like too much, but I know that just having somebody with even a modicum of pro league experience, especially for someone who's been on what is just considered the best team in the world for G2, I don't know if that's like. I'm going to assume it's helped to shape his outlook on how he views the game, just being in a much more like highly competitive setup like that. But I also know that his G2 situation was less than ideal compared to like where he was being fit in.
There's two sides to this, right? There's the whole everyone underestimates him because he did really badly on G2, which is great for me. Like, yes, please underestimate Cryan. Please think that he's not going to kill your entire team. Please.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He's ridiculous. Like
he jumps on G2 and everyone forgets how good of a player he was back when he was on Orglis in the first Na'Vi team. Like
he is the CL Slayer. He is ridiculous. I mean, I didn't quite show it on stream, but on Coastline, Secret tried to do an office rush where they stacked like 3 people outside of office. They Zofia charged the door and they all ran in. They split pushed him and they knew exactly where he was and he killed all 3 of them.
Ooh, I have to go back and find that.
I think he got triple headshot as well. So Cryan, for some reason, is really good at shutting down rushes like that on his own. I don't know if he's just inhuman or a god or he's hacking, but he's really good at doing that. So
I think
Yeah,
I think he's an arm player, and you can tell because he's got biceps the size of like fucking rugby balls.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's
He
out
doesn't
there and
wrist
he's
flick.
just
He moves his entire arm in this direction, but he can do it at lightning speed.
no.
Yeah.
He's so powerful, the world just kind of gently shifts, and he just holds his mouse in place, right?
Yeah.
When
So
did
he's
we
just-
make Cryan the Chuck Norris of Siege? What the
He's
fuck?
not the Chuck Norris of Siege. He's the Pasha Biceps of Siege.
Yeah,
but-
that I can't argue with that.
But Cryan isn't the entire story. Before that they were on the team and before Nexon was on the team, Deepak played entry, and Deepak in his own right is probably one of the best gunners in CL, and he's not even playing entry because we have two people who are even better gunners. So think about that for a moment, that Deepak was at the top of his game, and we found two more people at the top of their game, so now we have three incredibly good players, and then we have Leonsky. Leonsky's a great player. He got his plant. Don't worry about Leonsky.
That's gonna be a clip.
So,
yeah.
a lot of the... So, yeah, you mentioned, like, Cryan's experience, right? So, Leonsky's
I will also
IGL...
jump in and remember that I completely neglected to remember next one's time on Chaos back
Yes.
when Cripps was off the team for a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit, and
he
then
did,
they
yeah.
brought in Shate. So I was like, and when it comes to all of the Pro League experience that this team has, it amounts to, I think, like, what, one full season, because they were both in for half seasons, but, like, still.
Yeah, I mean,
that is
Cryan
still
also
relevant.
did OGA, and he did the qualifiers. Well, he didn't do the qualifiers,
Right,
but
yeah.
he did the boot camp with them.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
then a lot
So,
of this team also has a lot of experience from the Benelux season.
Yeah, and from the previous two CL seasons as well. So everyone on the team is very, very experienced to playing comp and stuff like that. So everyone really has a good idea of what needs to happen. So Leonsky's the main IGL. He's the one who's really like calling the pushes and like what we should be doing and the whole kind of meta strategy of the round.
Yeah.
But normally, I mean, anyone can call it, right? Like, everyone knows what's going on, and if they see something, they're going to call it. But Cryan normally is the guy who's doing a lot of the adaptation just on the fly. And yeah, with his knowledge from G2 as well, and the kind of like discussions that we have during dry runs and VOD review and stuff like that, that he adds huge depth of knowledge to the team that otherwise we wouldn't know. Like, he's taught me many things, I've taught him a few things, and it's good. I feel like we have a great learning environment when we scrim. You know, people get frustrated when we lose scrim, sure, but we learn from them as well.
Yeah. There's something I know you mentioned a couple times is trying to prove that you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, which one I think is a good way to kind of set a goal for yourself to make sure that, hey, if I can find success with team after team after team, and that just kind of proves single-handedly that there is merit to what I'm talking about. But to that extent, even though this is something that you're putting all your time and all your resources into, like, in the moment, you don't want to completely, like, immediately shelf casting either, because I know that's something you enjoy. I know you and I, like, the first time I ever casted live was with you for an invite call for North America, and I know that's something you've done for a long time. You had, like, the last thing you did was OGA Pit, or was there something in between now and then?
Yeah, OGA Pit would have been the last time I professionally casted. Yeah.
Yeah, okay then. But is that something you're shelving for right now to focus on this? And like there might be an opportunity down the road where you can keep on doing the cast or the coaching thing, and then just casting is kind of like, I used to do casting, but it is now.
I intend to cast for Season 5 of CCS right now as it stands.
Okay.
I guess it kind of just depends, because it's looking pretty likely, in my opinion. We have Izzy Dream on Friday, who, in my opinion, are the favourites to make Pro League. They're the favourites to come first in CL.
Sure.
We've lost to them multiple times in open quals. We didn't play them in closed quals. I think we lost to them twice in the open quals. So I might be wrong on that. I'll have to check my data. But yeah, like they're kind of the only team in open quals that's in CL that managed to beat us, and that was before we had Cryan as well.
Yeah.
That was when Avesh was on the team. So you got to be thinking like, it's not looking ideal for that situation. But if we do make Pro League, if we beat Izzy Dream, I think if we beat Izzy Dream, we make Pro League. No doubt in my mind. That's a very, very important game. I think also a lot of people are underestimating Penta. I know Bios, he's a great coach, and he does a huge amount of work for his team. And yeah, I think that people are really underestimating that roster, honestly. So yeah, if we beat Izzy Dream, though, I think we'll make Pro League either first or second. It doesn't really matter. And yeah, I guess if we make Pro League, I'll just do that, you know?
Like, yeah, why not? Like, that seems cool.
I really love casting. Like, I really love just talking about the game and just sitting there and just having a discussion about the game. Like,
yeah,
maybe I would be better suited for an analyst desk than actually just raw casting. I do enjoy casting, and I think I've gotten better at shoutcasting recently, play-by-play and stuff like that, especially at OGA.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just love talking about the game, and casting is where you get to do that the most without really, you know, if you're wrong in casting, like, people just kind of just assume you're going to be wrong anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're wrong in coaching, then it's gonna start costing you a lot of money.
Yeah,
Sure,
then the shit gets real. Yeah.
So you can afford to kind of just talk whatever you want on the casting, and you can kind of have these very controversial opinions. And if it doesn't turn out to be right, then it doesn't turn out to be right. But you know, on coaching, you really need to know your stuff. So, I like coaching because it allows me to prove that I do know what I'm talking about and that I can coach at this level. Because coaching is purely strategy. You're only thinking about the strategy of the game, and that is basically most of what the casters talk about anyway. So,
you're not wrong.
Yeah,
it's a good proving ground for me. So that's really still what I see it as. But since we beat Secret, the hopes have been super high in the team because we look at the other CL teams and we know that we're better than them. So I just don't see any reason why we can't make Pro League.
I was gonna say, I have the list of how the Wikipedia page for how Season 11 has gone through the first play day, and I'm just looking through the rest of these, and if you're not necessarily worried about Penta nearly as much, you're not worried about Secret because you've beat them already, so that won't be a problem for Pro League contention unless they just like run the rest of the table. But then I'm looking at the rest of these, like Orglis is in there, Sisu is in there, and Salamander is also in there, and there's, from what I can tell, not nearly the same kind of competitive spread, mainly because I thought Secret would, like, yes, I was one of the many who was like, Secret's more established, they've had more time, and they have a former world champion on their team, so there's no reason to not think that they can have relative success against a team that, from a Benelux perspective, I don't know that much about. So I was in the Secret boat, but to also see Sisu at the bottom of that list just makes me think that there's, like, I don't know what to make of how that pool works anymore.
I don't know if you saw the game, but that was painful to watch. I really like the guys on Sifu, but oh my god, that consular game was really bad.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
I mean, honestly, like, Easy Dream made a lot of mistakes as well. Like, they made a lot of coordination mistakes, which also gives me hope for our game against Easy Dream, because I think now, okay, they're actually a very, very beatable team. They are human after all.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like definitely the strongest team in my mind. I thought you were going to say Crazy, because I think a lot of people rate Crazy quite highly, mostly because they've gone through that route of winning ESL Premiership, winning Challenge League quals, and going on. But
well, I mean, the last team to win Premiership and then
was Na'Vi,
win quals and then win Challenger League, went on to Pro League and won Tokoname. So
yeah. So I get why people think that way, but I'm saying that Crazy is not the same team that Na'Vi was. They are not the same team whatsoever. They are a really good team for sure, and Arkuth, I respect him a lot as a coach as well. But also, I have so much on Crazy. It is insane. It is quite crazy, actually.
Well, I mean, you've been playing them.
Yeah, we played them in the Premiership once, and then we played them in the finals as well.
Yeah.
I think that's probably my biggest regret as coaching, because the guys really just wanted to make second place. They really wanted to get to the finals. They wanted to beat Fizz. So we put pretty much all of our effort into beating Fizz. And I didn't do nowhere near as much prep for Crazy as I should have done, really. So I was caught very off guard. But to be honest, I was very, very angry at it in the time, because I feel like we were still the better team and that we should have won.
Sure.
But I look back at it and I think that they beat us on Coastline, which is our best map statistically, by a goddamn landslide. And if we cannot beat them there, we're not going to beat them anywhere else. Right. So it was very, very close. It was 8-7. So I think it still could have gone either way, depending on the OT sides.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can't be mad at that. Like, we went really, really far. But the thing is, I cannot wait for that revenge game. Oh, it's going to be so sweet.
That's going to be fun to watch, yeah.
And it's good as well. It's good because I'm friends with those guys. So it's good playing against friends, you know? because you know if you lose or if you win, you know it's still all happy families. But you know if you beat a team that you really don't like, you're like, or if you lose to a team you really don't like God, it's embarrassing. But you know, I like all those guys. You mentioned Orgless. I think Orgless have some really good ideas. Obviously, they have a pretty big support staff behind them. Omerta, I respect a lot as a coach as well. In fact, Omerta, we've talked a lot about coaching between ourselves before the Premiership season even started. So
because he's been with that Orgless core for a good long while now.
Yeah, and before that, he was with Horace, which was Fresh's old team as well.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, he's very respected in the kind of EU coaching scene, I assume, you know. So, you know, I respect him a lot as a coach as well, and he's taught me a lot about coaching, and we have a lot of good discussions about the game. So, you know, I respect him, but I'm still going to beat his team, so.
I mean, if you don't say you're going to beat his team, then you're kind of doing your job wrong, because you do have a little bit of PR to worry about, right? Just like...
Either way, we play them last, so they are the team I'm least worried about, not because they're a bad team, or that I think they're the worst team.
But because you'll know whether you've won or lost Challenger League by that time.
Well, yes and no. More because I will have so much data for Orgless by the end of the season.
Yeah, that's also fair.
But
they'll have so much data for you, so it's...
Good point, yeah. It works both ways.
It does work both ways. I feel like I don't really care how much data teams have on us. Like, they can have all the data in the world, and it really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
as long as they don't have the circumference of Cryan's bicep, you're going to beat them. Yeah.
I care a lot about the data I have on other teams. Easy Dream, I have so much for, so I'm not worried about them. Crazy, I have so much for them, so that's good. Penta are still a very unknown factor for me, because they haven't played in a whole lot with this roster.
Right.
So I don't really know what to expect from them still.
I don't think they've played in...
the French League, and that's it?
They played in the French Open Cup yesterday.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Not yesterday, a couple days ago, against Team Valor, and they won 2-0. But, yeah, other than that, I don't have a lot of info on how they're going to play, and they did really well against Crazy on Consulate, so I'm starting to think that, you know, this Penta roster, people are really underestimating them.
It's really, really interesting to kind of hear all of that. Not even that you've played every single team across the field yet, but it's just you already have an idea for like the level of preparedness that you need to go into to figure out like how the teams operate and then what the best strategy is to beat them. The one thing I haven't heard any mention of is the wonderful, what the heck are they even from? Oh yeah, no, they're all Hungarian. So you're not worried about Salamander on the slightest. Is kind of what I'm hearing from them.
So a bit of a revenge game for us as well, because they beat us in the close quals. Their game to qualify for CL is the game they 2-0'd us. It was a very close game in the first map. We went 8-7, I believe. So yeah, and then the second map we got slammed. But obviously this was before we had Cryan. This was when Avish was still on the team. In my mind, I know I like Avish as a person, but we are a stronger team without him and with Cryan.
You got to make the move you got to make. You know,
whether
you're able to move past the personal aspect of it is a different story.
When that was... I mean, that was a whole... I'm not going to get into it because there was a whole thing when that happened, and I wasn't part of the team, so I can't speak on their behalf on why that decision was made.
Right.
So, but as I look at it right now, and looking back at close calls, we are a stronger team right now than we were back then. We're scrimming every single day. Most of the time, we're scrimming twice a day, depending on if we can get a good scrim. If we're not,
I saw your tweet after your scrim schedule, and that shit is...
Well, I mean, the coronavirus is... I mean, it's a terrible pandemic.
I mean, yeah, it's a terrible pandemic,
terrible,
but like...
awful. But it's great for my scrim schedule.
Sternab's just sitting here like, let's do 2 scrims a day, lads. Let's go. Let's do it.
We can do literally 6 maps today. What are you waiting for?
You wanna do like 8 maps and fucking Depik is like, Sternab, I'm tired, and you're just like throwing cans of Monster at him. Work harder, Depik.
What is wrong with you? We have time.
You want to be on entry? I can get anyone else to do this job. You do this now.
Or not?
I've had 3 cans of rain today. Please. If I have more, my heart will stop. Your heart will stop if you don't peak that.
Your life depends on holding this angle. Oh man.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Do we want to do a slight rundown on how PL is, or
Sure.
are we kind of good?
You have any hot takes on Pro League you want to talk about, Sternab?
I think people are. Empire is doing really, really badly right now, right? They've taken 4 rounds in the past 3 play days,
Right.
I think.
Yike.
Yeah. Wait. No, they played Navi and won, right? Yeah.
They
Okay,
played that
so
was a 7-5 in week 1, or played
Yeah.
8. Yeah.
the first week of the split, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, they haven't really done that well. Thing is that they just banned the same. I mean, I mentioned this last night to you, Jacob, about how Empire will just ban the same maps. Like, they'll just ban Cafe, Villa, and Theme Park every single time. So if you're Fours or you're Navi or you're whatever, you know exactly what they're going to ban, and you know where you can take them to. You just take them to your strongest map. So you can just spend a week prepping that map, and Empire know you have to choose one of those maps, but they don't know which one you're going to choose. So Empire have to put 3 maps, and really I just think, honestly, that's all it comes down to, that Empire are just getting completely outplayed because their map pool is awful. But the Pro League season doesn't mean anything right now, right? It's just money, right? Empire makes enough money as it is, right? I don't think they're
you don't
particularly
need to worry about that aspect.
incentivized by the cash. They were incentivized to go to LAN for their org, right? But now there's no LAN, so
Yep.
yeah, I hope they do maybe like some online playoffs or something like that just to fill the time, because without a LAN it's kind of awkward. But I don't think that's really, because I mean I feel like they would have announced it already if they were going to do something like that. So probably not how it's going to go down. But yeah, I think Empire are just like, yeah, we don't even have to try this season at all, so let's just not show our theme park until we need to.
Yeah, I don't like using the excuse that because a particular like seasons heading into the transition for the circuit system and everything else in like a couple weeks time. I don't want to use that as saying that the season no longer matters because we're going to go through the rest of that transition phase, because I talk about it when I'm casting in CL. It's not something that you're doing you're just playing for the money. Yes, there is no promotion incentivization, so you're not doing anything in that regard, but that still doesn't necessarily lead into like an excuse to do badly. I know Empire is a good team. I don't want to say regardless of the maps that they play for, but there's a reason why this core is stuck together for as long as they have, and they have a lot of success kind of across the field. So I still don't think that having 4 rounds won over 2 play days is still an acceptable performance, and I think anybody can look at that and say the underperforming nature of the team can just lead to more teams thinking that there's definitely blood in the water and attack like as fast as they can.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about Empire more, it's like you look at their Six Invitational performance, and I predicted that they were going to win the whole thing just because Empire are the team that, I mean, everyone knows, like, they just run the same stuff over and over again, but they perfected to the point where no one can counter-strat them. Other than if you pull out some really weird counter-strat like G2 did on Border at the Raleigh Major, right? And that was like a really good, really specific counter-strat, but if you look at that, that's like the perfect counter-strat that G2 could have come up with, and they still almost lost the round.
Yeah.
Because Empire just purely rely on their gun skill to stop people gaining control of the map and stop people from doing stuff. I mean, and you even see it in the start of that round where I think Shepherd on Castle, might be in Kazeka, someone on Castle just wide sweeps out for absolutely no reason. Yeah. And it's like, that is Empire in a sentence, you know? They would wide swing out for no reason whatsoever, and yeah, they would just get an early pick.
Yeah.
Right? It's perfectly reasonable for the Castle to get traded in that particular situation, right? If you can kill an attacker, he stops that entire execute from ever happening in the first place. So, and they almost won the round. They almost retook. It was incredibly well done by Empire, but yeah, I mean, this wasn't good in the end. You got Pengu and Monty. You're not going to be able to kill him.
Yeah, you can't.
So, but yeah, you look at that, and I thought, okay, this is an Empire who has not played a proper LAN event in 6 months. No one has no idea what strats they're going to run. No one can do that kind of counter-striking, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like the thing is that they were saving a lot of stuff for the major, for the invitational.
Yeah.
That they hadn't actually tested properly by playing it in live games. Because
and then,
I feel like that's normally how Empire play it out, right? They just run the same strats, and they do it to the point where they know every single counter strat that's going to come out, and they can just play against it. They know what the execute's going to be.
Dare I say a little bit Dark Zero-esque in the way that they would kind of be like, yeah, we can prepare solely for like these couple of sites, these couple of executes, because of that limited map pool, so they can focus really heavily on those. But if for some reason those just kind of get thrown for a loop, then we saw what we saw at the Invitational, and now we've kind of begun to see the continuation of that over these couple of weeks, especially last week. So yeah.
Thinking about the rest of the Pro League season, G2 doing very, very well for themselves now. Their new roster definitely proving themselves. I mean, I know 7-0ing Empire on Coastline right now is not really a huge achievement, but
we'll still talk about it.
They did very well for themselves. They did lose to Chaos, but they beat Vitality and they're chugging along. Well,
Chaos is doing weird shit.
I don't even think it's that. I think Chaos is just the counter to G2. They always beat them.
Yeah. But like if we look, Chaos, what did they do? They 5-7 G2, and then previously they also tied Vitality, 2-7 BDS. Right? It's just like the weirdest shit that's happening with Chaos, where they're winning against teams that they should beat, and they're losing, or they should lose to, and they're losing against teams they should beat.
Yeah, well, I think the most interesting matches now are going to be the real grudge matches, right? Matches that people want to win just for the sake that they say they beat their team.
Oh, that G2 Na'Vi game is going to be a fucking bloodbath.
Yeah,
that's going to be a great game.
That's
going to be a bloodbath.
Today is going to be insane because Stokey is back.
Oh, yeah.
Doki is now going to have to prove himself as a PL player in his first day back.
Yep.
Because he hasn't played a PL game in 6 months.
wasn't doing half bad, to be fair, as well.
No. So I can't wait for them to lose and everyone to at Doki on Twitter and say that he should be dropped for Blur.
I don't think he should be dropped because...
No, he should not be dropped for Blur at all. That's completely ridiculous statement.
I don't think Doki should be dropped, okay? Because there's one really important factor that we're missing, and that's any British Child Protective Services officer looks at Doki, sees a child, sees that child has just been dropped, and immediately calls a Bobby, right? We don't want the cops involved.
Yes,
okay?
That is accurate. The one time, yeah.
Okay. We don't...
We definitely don't want him involved.
You could put Magnan on top of Doki. They would make a full-size human person that's still not as tall as Brycer.
I almost did that at 6th invite.
No,
I got them both. I got them both to agree. I just couldn't find a jacket big enough.
The image that would have made would have been great.
So that's the situation in EU Pro League.
Oh yeah, but NA Pro League. The big grudge match is happening today at 10:30 p.m. Eastern
that
time.
One's gonna be fun.
That's the exciting one. That's Evil Geniuses versus TSM.
Yeah, TSM is in a weird place because they took Rec to Border, which not only is TSM's worst map, but is one of Rec's best maps historically. So, and I think the reason, I talked to that analyst after. I'm not going to go into details about what he said, but I think the general consensus here is that they do not care with the rest of the season. They are by far and away the first place team.
Yeah.
They are so many points. They're 5 points clear of SSG.
I mean, if you're going to try shit, like try crazy shit, this is the time to do it.
Now's the time. Especially when you have such a drastic spread between the top and bottom four in North America.
Yeah.
So you have literally no reason to not give this a shot, especially if you're at the bottom when you know relegation's not an issue. So
yeah, I think I got a few things on this. I think there's such a big disparity. Luminosity is 5th with 9 points. And Dark Zero is 4th with 20 points. That's how big the disparity is.
Yeah.
But I think there's a few reasons for this. One, the main important reason is there's no relegation. There is no reason for any of these bottom 4 teams to give a crap about the season now. They do not have to fight it out between themselves to not get 7th and 8th. There's not a huge prize pool disparity between them. You get $14,000 for 5th, and you get $12,000 for 7th and 8th. So, who cares? It's $2,000. You get paid more than that in a month anyway.
Yeah.
So, no one cares. No one cares about doing all of that. So it's all that. And then you have the top 4 teams are TSM, SSG, Rec, and Dark Zero. 4 teams who did incredibly well at the Invitational and have that international experience from the Invitational where they have proved themselves. But then at the bottom you have Evil Geniuses who have been struggling hugely because of a lot of massive roster changes. I mean, if you're going to make roster changes, now is the time to do it.
Still, yeah, it's applicable 100%.
You've got Tempo Storm, who, in my opinion, aren't quite ready for Pro League right now. That they've already had one roster change. They're going to bring in Sloppy as well at some point as well.
Yeah.
So we've still yet to see how he will do. But, you know, Tempo Storm got into Pro League by relegating Rogue, who, you know, by fair enough, you beat Rogue in a best of 3, you therefore qualify, right? But then they lost to Sonics at USN in a best of 3. So while, you know, it's not quite the valid comparison like USN versus relegations, obviously
a glorified LAN versus yeah, right.
Yeah.
Versus
what are the real stakes here?
But we've not seen Tempo Storm beat Sonics yet, so you could argue that Sonics would have beaten Tempo Storm in a best of 3 relegation. Obviously, we'll never know because it didn't play out that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And what we saw was a very strong Obey, probably the strongest Obey, who now United, take on, you know, Sonics. And Sonics made a lot of mistakes in that match, no doubt. But would it mean the same if Tempo Storm was against them? I'm not sure. So it could have worked out like that as well, because Sonics were not that far behind Rogue in terms of actual points in the Pro League season last season. So
yeah.
Like Tempo Storm are struggling hugely. I think United are struggling because of roster changes as well. But as again, you know, roster changes, if you're going to do it, you do it now.
Yeah. I think the thing that I don't want to necessarily say that, yeah, if you're placing in bottom 4, you're not really playing for the money incentive. If anything, you can use it just kind of as a method of giving alternative strategies a shot and just kind of see, like, throw stuff at the wall and like kind of see what sticks in the moment. Because I don't know if there's a chance that Luminosity in 5th can catch up to Dark Zero, who's in 4th in the next 3 play days. There's like points wise, it's just impossible. You can gain a total of 9 points and that only gets you at 18. So as far as like that discrepancy, there's no chance for you to get right back up. But I think regardless of like some of the things I've been hearing when it comes to how some of these organizations are going to like remain with teams after this season, I think something that I am a little bit interested in is whether or not we would see some of these teams just say, you know what, you still did bad in the PL season, so there's no reason to keep you around. That's happened in seasons before. Like we had Accelerate in North America at one point, but that was because they weren't doing that hot, so they were just like, you know what, we're done. That's happened to plenty of other teams over the past couple of seasons, regardless of region, just saying, even though you didn't do well, you might be in for next season, but we no longer consider this a worthwhile investment. I guess
so you could argue going down that same path is that Rec don't have an org right now, technically, right?
Technically.
So, you know, they've actually got something to play for right now, that they have to prove themselves as a team.
Yeah.
And if they can now then escalate themselves to a first place and dethrone TSM, maybe they'll do that. I mean, they did beat TSM, so they can kind of prove that they can be there.
Right. More wins for Rec increases their stock, and then more team interest. Maybe we can get a better org to represent them too.
Other teams would be that mad about losing to Rec right now. The Rec versus SSG game should just be very, very interesting for that, because obviously SSG can kind of change their fortunes here, and I think they would like to finish first, and I think they can definitely do that with their next few games coming up. I mean, they have SSG versus Rec, SSG versus EG, which obviously, you know, that's going to be really good for SSG. But then they have SSG versus TSM, which is a very winnable game for them, but obviously it's the best of 1 online. This is where TSM has ruled right now this season.
Right.
So, you know, we'll see how that does go for SSG. But if they can win those games, then they can definitely dethrone TSM and hit that first place.
I think the reason I bring it up is I don't want to see a team, like, let's just use E United as an example for this. I don't want them to be a team that comes into Pro League after one season, then has the team that they've picked up place, you know, like 6th or 7th or something through their first Pro League season, and then for them to already consider that to be something that they shouldn't have put the money into. Like, it wasn't worth it to attach their name to a team that did this poorly, so they'll just drop them afterward. I don't want them to leave the scene after one bad season kind of thing.
I would agree that would be a possibility if this was a different game. But this is Rainbow, and right now there's a lot of money for an org being involved in Rainbow with the pilot program.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think United, no matter what happens, no one is selling teams right now as well. On top of that is what you're going to notice, right? United's not going to give up their roster. They will not sell that spot in Pro League.
I mean, there's some teams that pretty famously got into the creator program and got their money, and then fucked off.
Flip side.
Mouse sports. Oh, God. I'm sorry. I had something in my throat.
You know, Adam still doesn't have his money from Flipside.
Yep.
I've heard that. Yeah.
How many people still don't have their money from
Flipside either?
How many people still don't have their money from SK?
I don't know.
There's a good one.
It's a good question. Should ask Pojo that one.
Yeah.
All right.
SK
time to get
really
Pojo on
did
the
not
podcast,
care about their roster whatsoever. It is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there were definitely orgs who came in and were like, "Hey, let me get that." You got that. You got that basically free money from our organization. Ubisoft is like, "You're going to pay your players, right?" Yeah, don't. You're asking a lot of fucking questions. Why don't you just give me the money and we'll discuss this later?
You know, things are going to be different going into this next season as well for season 12. Like, obviously the whole thing is getting overhauled, and they're getting ready to change the whole idea of Rainbow Esports for 2021, which I'm excited for.
We're still calling it season 12, I'm assuming, right? Because
Yeah,
that's going to throw
I
me
think-
for a loop if we go through the year one season standing, and then we say
Yeah.
we start from season 7, do that for 2 years, then
I mean, you could think of now year one, season 1 as being season 1.
Season
now,
1, yeah.
right? So
No, you're
I think this
right
is
about
fine to keep it as season 12. If anything, like, it makes it sound more impressive that we have like so many seasons of Pro League now, even though they're not all the same length. So
The one thing I will miss from it is that it does disconnect us from the other big thing that ESL does well, which is CS, and they're also in season 11 of their Pro League at the moment. So
yeah,
to have the two of them run simultaneously, if only because if you can convince somebody else saying like, hey, you see how ESL runs their CS thing, if they do that will come watch Siege kind of thing. But
does anyone really care about CS Pro League though?
I was going to go to the LAN. The LAN for this season of PL for CSGO would have been 40 minutes like this direction from my house.
Yeah, okay, but it's like 40 minutes away. Like, of course you're gonna go.
Of course
to
I was gonna go.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Core Ross is gonna go.
People give a shit about. Okay, people give a shit about. What is it? It's
no, not Core Ross. Cross Archon.
People give a shit about IEMs. They give a shit about DreamHacks.
Yep.
They give a shit about the finals.
Nobody care about Pro League.
Nobody gives a shit about ESL Pro League.
I think honestly, even in Rainbow, right? Like the day-to-day Pro League is not amazing.
The day-to-day Pro League gets like 12K, 13K on
North
Twitch
America.
on North America on a good day.
Also for me as a coach as well, I think the best of one banning system is incredibly boring.
Yeah,
because you get. I mean, you could technically do what I don't think it's a good strategy. You could technically do what Empire does and just ban 3 maps, and you just play a full map pool, and you're just like, cool, we'll just take us to any of these maps. We don't care.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a good strategy because they could just counter strike you super hard.
Yeah.
But I think like the thing you get 3 bans is absolutely absurd. Like you should not be able to do that whatsoever. I think it's better than the auto ban system that we had last season, which was absolutely horrific for teams, especially teams in Challenger League as well, which I'm so thankful for this season. Mm-hmm. I do not see the problem with the best of 2. You do the bans as if it was a best of 3, and you just don't play the decider.
I mean, ANZ does that.
Do they do that, or do they do the same thing we do in CL, which is 2 best of 1 bans?
Yeah, it's 2 best of 1s, yeah.
Yeah.
But
because there is the potential, like something I learned in CL is you don't auto ban out the map that was played previously, like the first map at a best of 1. You do an entirely new ban, and you can still have the possibility for that map to come back for your map too.
I mean, and we do the same thing in CL as well, and it is incredibly frustrating because, like, having to show your map ban strategy and then having to show your map ban strategy again. I think one thing I learned from already playing Secret is that when you win the first map, the map ban strategy is now so good for you. Oh my god, it is great. Because you know they're going to ban the map that you just beat them on. They're not going to take you back there. In most cases. Some cases it has happened in the past where Adventure Force accidentally went to border again.
Yeah.
But then they beat Disrupt, so...
They're like, that's sweet.
I mean, like, from the outside perspective, it looks like Adventure Force went back to border on purpose just to run it back and counter-strike them super hard.
Right.
But in reality, what happened is Suzaku forgot there was an auto ban, and he thought he still had another ban, and so they went to border again.
Probably just like viciously reading hentai and just going, "Oh fuck, wait, we're banning."
I low key think that Suzaku is actually like a genius. He just memes and crap just so that people don't realize, right? Like he just comes up with these excuses. Oh yeah, no.
Oh, he's actually like pretty fucking good.
We're not even trying, and then all of a sudden they just win against Disrupt on one of their best maps, and you're like, okay.
He's created a persona where he does nothing but like hentai, so people like underestimate him, like constantly.
It's great. Like if he's the evil genius here, 90% of his brain power that he spends looking at anime porn instead on Siege, he'd be great. But like, God bless that man for being just hilariously horny on main. Just non-stop. But for
doesn't give a shit. And on that interesting note, are we really going to let the last thing we end this episode on is talking about Suzaku and porn?
No, the last thing we're going to talk about is Sternab. Do you have any sponsors you want to push? Do you have anything you want to talk about? Do you want to plug yourself a little bit?
Okay, so if you don't know who I am, I don't know why you've been listening to this entire podcast. But in case you want to know, I'm the co-owner of CCS Esports and R6 Tactics. So CCS Esports is a league run by myself, Rob Walker, and Chris Titangles Heaven. And we kind of want to create a space where T2 players can play against kind of underage up-and-coming teams that can prove themselves, right? Something for teams to play in. It was created really for North America, but we also have it for Europe as well. Season 5 is starting in May, and qualifiers and stuff will be announced soon on @CCS Esports on the Twitter and ccsesports.com. R6 Tactics is a project of mine ran by a couple of other friends and developers, where we are creating something like TACboard, but using better assets, 4K resolution, very well and done and professionally made. I use them myself for my own coaching, and the basic concept is to produce a professional level program that anyone can use, and we can teach people how to coach properly and teach people how to get involved in competitive and strategy making. And then
just trying to make it a lot more accessible is the idea.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I think people like they look at comp and they like, oh, it's a strange new world, and they play a whole new meta and stuff like that. But in reality, if you know the game, it's actually quite easy to start to strategize yourself and kind of like just look at how pro league teams do it. And obviously, there's a learning experience to do, but there is a grind to be done. And if you want to do it, we can make it accessible to you. So that's the kind of angle we're going for. Right. And then there's also myself. As we've mentioned already on this podcast, I'm the coach for Diffuse Kids. We're playing in Rainbow Six EU Challenger League for Season 11. We're hoping to make Pro League. We just beat Secret 2-0 in our last playdate, and we play Easy Dream on Friday. I believe we play that on the main Rainbow Six channel. So
I think so, yeah.
Do tune in for that. And that'll be a Friday. I think that's at 9 p.m. CEST if you live in Europe. And
yep.
I think it's about 3 p.m. Eastern.
And then your Twitter is...
@SternabR6.
Sweet.
And then one last question.
Oh boy.
Do Diffuse Kids have a drink sponsorship?
That's a good question. I actually do not know.
Because watching you just hawk whatever fucking...
Yeah. I got in a lot of trouble for that one.
Oh boy.
The ESL Premiership staff were not happy about me saying that. But the thing is like, people were asking me how much money I made from that. That was literally just a joke. Like, Demise did not say me.
That wasn't even a deal?
Me to do anything.
There was nothing behind that? Oh my god.
I just thought it'd be funny.
You gave yourself away for free! You dumbass!
Well, Demise were really good to us.
Recognize your worth, James!
Demise were really good to us as an org, and we were kind of hoping... I mean, I think that they are still continuing with them as an org, and they're getting like a better deal now because they finished second. So I wanted to just do like a funny joke, and I'd get on good terms with Demise and stuff like that. So I thought I'd do them a favor. I didn't realize I was going to get in trouble for it. There was no interview guidelines, and to be honest, I probably feel like I should have asked before I did it.
I mean, but it was that was.
But it will go down in history as one of the greatest interviews ever.
That will be one of the greatest interviews ever, because instead of being like we're gonna win this round, we're gonna do good,
you're just
sitting there just
relentlessly.
Hey, you should drink this shit. It's good for you. Chug it, you sluts. Chug it.
You'll have fun.
if you watch the interview, the host is desperately trying to get me off the topic.
Oh
as
my
well.
god,
He's
it's
like,
the best.
yeah, there's other stuff you can talk
He's
about.
like,
yeah,
oh,
there's
yeah.
other stuff you can drink. Yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about the game. And I was just there shilling my heart out.
That was like a Poja Man and Taro. We were just trying to get Bolo some kills interview, but unironically, like that was a train wreck you just had to see. So
It was great.
so
yeah.
so good.
The best part about coaching is shit talking after the game. That's definitely the only reason to do it.
You're right though. All right, is that it? Are we
I
good?
think so.
I think that's
I'm
it.
good if you're good, Chowder.
I'm good.
There's never a really good way to start or end these things, so I guess that's where
There isn't. I mean, we
the
can
most
we can
awkward part comes out.
end how we started it.
talking about Audacity and free programs.
Wrong. Talking about beans.
Yes, talking about being.
I can just leave if we want to talk about beans again.
Sternab, do you want to have like a 80-minute discussion just on beans?
Oh God.
I would, but I have scrims.
Yes. I remember he has scrims, so we actually can't talk about beans.
He actually has
dear
scrims in
Lord.
25 minutes. So
Yeah.
let's do kidney beans or lime movie. Let's have
Kidney
let's
beans.
have a frank discussion about
Is it
beans.
a quick fire round? I do like some kidney beans in the burrito.
All right, everybody.
All right, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Monday with somebody. I don't know. We might bring someone else on.
God only knows.